As the country battles COVID-19, women and girls are still fighting gender-based violence. Well, what are rights groups and activists hoping the president will say about gender-based violence tonight in his State of the Nation address? Well, Lisa Vetten, gender activist and research consultant at the University of Johannesburg, now chatting to us about that. Lisa, thanks so much for your time. And yes, you know, we've been talking all morning so far and now into the afternoon about what we're expecting from the president. And so far, you know, the usual suspects in terms of COVID-19, corruption and all of that coming to the fore. In terms of GBV, though, especially in the wake of the president launching the GBVF response fund, are you expecting to hear much more from him on this tonight?
One would certainly hope so, because it sounds, you know, we've got the broad and general outline, but we don't have the detail. And the devil is, of course, always in the detail. So while one is, you know, appreciative of the generosity of those who gave to it, we need to know, how is it going to be managed? What is going to be prioritized, and how is it going to be distributed? And what is government going to put into other GBV programs, given that it is saying it's now in austerity mode? What is it going to be cutting? So we need to understand where the trade-offs are going to happen.
And I suppose in all the conversations we've had about this fund over the past couple of days since the announcement of it, is we want practicality. We want to know, yes, campaigns, we all know what we need to do, what we shouldn't be doing, how we should be treating women, children, girls, and even some men for that matter. We actually need practicality. And do you think, given everything on his plate at the moment, that the president has most likely given that any thought, or him and his team, rather?
You know, I think he's given it a lot of thought, but the problem is that he doesn't implement programs in the Department of Justice, in the Department of Social Development, in the Department of Human Settlements. Government does. And the problem, and that I think is where the problem lies. Many government departments are struggling. They do not have the capacity required to be able to implement effectively. We've seen that over the last decade. We've also seen big gaps in policy. So again, grand statements can be made, but if the nitty-gritty operational detail is not available around how the Department of Human Settlements is going to make alternative housing available to women who need to leave shelters, we haven't addressed that problem, and women will continue to go back to their partners. It's also all very well to talk grandly about economic empowerment, but if we don't have the detail from the Department of Labour on what sort of programs they're going to be offering, where the linkages are going to happen, that doesn't mean much. And I think the last concern, you know, if we're talking about what you're expecting, is in 2018, the President promised a whole range of summits with different sectors, one of which was the social sector. And that is the one sector he has never gotten around to meeting. It's also the one sector who have been given no help whatsoever. I'm speaking about the NGO sector broadly in relation to any of the economic plans. And that has a severe impact on the services that are being provided to women as well as other vulnerable groups. So this is a real gap that the president must attend to.
And just taking that even further, I suppose, yes, sort of the law enforcement when it comes to dealing with GBV and the actual justice system. And it's not just what happens when you actually get to an official sort of stage of this. It's about sort of helping women get the legal assistance they need to actually fight to stay alive.
Well, exactly. And it's very unfortunate that all too often you do need an organization to be with you, to follow up on the police, to ensure you're getting information to go to court, to get the necessary court preparation. That doesn't come from court officials, it comes from NGOs. And if that money is not made available, then, you know, it's a bit of a lottery as to the kind of quality of service you'll get from the criminal justice system.
Lisa, sounding to me at the moment that you don't have very high expectations. You're not hoping for much from the president when it comes to this topic tonight.
I would like to say I hope to be pleasantly surprised. Unfortunately, if I look at the kind of policy pronouncements that we've seen over the last year, there isn't a single new idea. We're repeating in some ways the last 20 years, but dressing it up in new little ribbons and bows. And there isn't money either. So, no, I hope to be pleasantly surprised. Let's leave it at that.